Our summer of cricket moves on to Trent Bridge. India winning the T20 series 2-1. One-day international cricket here. India winning the toss and electing to bowl first. Usual pair at the top of the innings for England. Johnny Bairstow and Jason Roy. Firepower there for England. It'll be a full house here. Intimate ground. Short boundaries, we've been here before. These are short boundaries. It'll be an absolute belter of a pitch. Johnny Bairstow with a strike rate of 104, a best of 141. 480 plus scored in the last one-day international here, batting first, England. This will be different. Two cracking teams, #1 and #2 in the rankings. Umesh Yadav with a bit of pace to kick things off with a slip. Keeps winning the toss. Very happy to have a ball. And it's have a chase. That's what he wants to do. Virat Kohli just chase down whatever England put up there. I thought you just heard the Indian fielder say he's nicked it.
Well, I think that's what the bowler said. But it wasn't actually. It seemed quite a bit. But well, led off for Johnny Bairstow.
Debut bowler here, Siddharth Cole. Quickish, slippery. This field will get one, comfortable. Weather has been absolutely fabulous still. Let's just have a look at this pitch. No grass, plenty of cracks. No moisture, no dampness. That's dry. Might spin.
The one boundary that is a lot shorter than the rest, and that's the one you can see now on the leg side. And it really is very short there, and there was a lot of boundaries in that area. That game you were mentioning against Australia. It's a miss-hit, really.
You got to mention in the T20 matches, this lad bowling now has got a headband on, and we were trying to go through all the bowlers with headbands. You definitely wore one. Definitely. Dennis Lilly, I reckon Dennis Lilly would have started it.
Dennis Lilly had that pneumonia bout, and he wore it after that. He had it at Headingley. I remember, but I wore it in India. But that was purely because it was about 60 degrees centigrade on the pitch.
They got through loads and social media went in meltdown. He wore one, he wore one. Wakar Yunis definitely. Jack Brooks at Yorkshire, a different one every over he used to bowl when he was at Northants, I think.
Why?
Well, it's just fashion. They'll be at it again, social media, they'll be full of it. Headbands, always with headbands.
Quite a few batsmen wear the headbands underneath that.
I was talking about Hardik Pandya. He came as a batter who can bowl a bit. Now team rely on him heavily to bowl those important overs. Those 10 overs in one-day game, and he balanced the side. when it comes to batting and bowling, he's the guy to go for.
Indication of how good this pitch is, the fact that Jason Roy can block that almost for 4. There's no follow through here from Roy at all, just a block.
Beautiful shot out there. Great effort there by Siddharth Kaul, stopping that ball going from boundary. I understand it's a flat wicket, but I don't see from bowlers to take those wickets. That intent is not there and it's missing. And somewhere, as a captain, you need to teach your bowlers how to get those wickets. I know it's a flat wicket. I understand it's hot, humid, but still you have to find a way to get a wicket.
It's a very dangerous place if you don't get a wicket as a bowling side, because runs will flow. Very hard to stop the boundaries. And England have a good start, 71 from 10.
Another flighted delivery by Kuldeep. Tucked in for 2 runs. There's a fielder, catching fielder out there, Suresh Raina.
Yeah, he bowls it slower than Chahal, and there's evidence already that he'll spin it a little more. So far, he's only bowled the orthodox delivery that will spin into the right-hander. Bowls a lot of googlies as well. Bairstow in the second of the T20 games tried to play him off the back foot as he did that last delivery. Kuldeep's first over, a successful one, 77 for 1, Nasser.
That's partnership broken now between Roy and Bairstow, but it has been a very successful one. 10 in 18 have been 50 partnerships. I'm going to show you why. Jason Roy, you can bowl length to and get away with. He absolutely murders the slot or short. Compare that to Johnny Bairstow. You bowl length to Johnny Bairstow and you get absolutely mullered from that length as well. Just wide channel as well. There's the comparison of both of them. And this is why a couple of years ago, Johnny Bairstow was predominantly leg side. 72% of his runs were leg side. Nowadays, 2018, he's both offside and leg side. Look at that mid-off to extra cover, 37%. Why can he now open up the offside? Because he's changed his technique. If you go back and you do a split screen, 2 years ago he used to get across his stumps and work to leg. Nowadays he stays leg side of the ball. If you have a look at that right one, stays leg side of the ball and opens up the offside. Shows you his stumps, but that's a perfect length ball on a channel, and he can throw his hands through the ball. You to play with someone like Virender Sehwag, who used to stay leg side of the ball and smash the offside. So a subtle change in technique from Johnny Bairstow means that he can put good length balls away for 4.
Nice day, nice pitch. England batting first at the request of Virat Kohli. They've got a decent start, 81 for 1. Jason Roy, the man out. Caught at cover off Kuldeep for 38. Bairstow has 38.
He should hit this irrespective of the field being there for that shot, because if you get it fine enough, if you hit it well enough, it's always a boundary.
Useful innings this from Adil Rashid. He tried it again, it's gone fine. Not exactly how he intended it to go. It's come off his backside, leg byes given, but a little smile from Adil Rashid. Very useful runs. Almost bowled off his backside. Might be a slower ball here. Adil Rashid is happy using the pace, getting it behind square. So if I was Siddharth, I think I'd be trying to take pace off the ball. Try and encourage Adil Rashid to make the running.
Siddharth Kauli's got a very good knuckleball. He bowls it very well, changes it up quite late. Just as he called it, Athers, a knuckleball straight to square leg.
He's a very wristy player, Adil Rashid, and I think he's happier playing square of the wicket with pace on the ball. So something slower to try and make him hit the ball, I think, is the way to go. You'd think that Moeen Ali and Adil Rashid would have key roles to play today on this dry surface, but perhaps easier when you're just chasing a smaller target rather than setting one against spin. As Wood jumps wide of the crease and entices Rohit Sharma into playing.
Well, this is excellent pace from Mark Wood. Rohit Sharma gives you a good look at the stumps in his setup.
Wood ended up flat on his face then as he followed through. 3 off the first over. You were with us before the start of the game. We pointed out the difference in statistics, which suggests the difference in approach from England's top order, who are very gung-ho, very aggressive, to India's top order, which is a little more conservative, probably because they don't necessarily have the depth of batting after Pandya down the order. Like to keep wickets intact and build momentum through the innings.
Virat Kohli to drag the Indian captain out of his crease. Defeats him on the outside edge, and Josh Butler was quick to take the bails off. That's a very good delivery to a man who plays spin well and who is well set. Interesting to see what Morgan does with Adil Rashid at this end, because he just got Kohli out with an absolute ripper, but the ball is just starting to tail, a little bit of reverse, but it's a different ball. That's the thing. Are they both reverse swinging? Does he let Adil go through to bowl his 10? Does he have a little look and see if he can give, I don't know, Mark Wood or Plunkett a little go with a ball that might reverse swing? Don't forget, 2 separate balls, so one might be reverse swinging, one might not.
Well, I think the best idea would be to bowl spin from one end and bowl reverse if at all it's happening. That's the different ball they are bowling from the other end. Don't forget that. That might reverse, but from this end it might not.
Sweetly timed, but straight to Stokes. 228 for 2. They're making those 268 runs all out with 1 delivery left in their allocation of 50 overs. Started nicely through Roy and Bairstow, but then Kuldeep Yadav got to work. He was excellent. 6 for 25. He took 5 wickets in that first T20 international, 6 in this first one-day international. And you felt were always well below par. Do you think it will bother Kohli, Harbhajan, that he hasn't managed to see the side across the line? Is that how he thinks?
mean, you would think they're going to win, but Kohli not being there unbeaten at the end, is that something that would bother him and he'll berate himself for a bit?
Yeah, he'll be a little bit hurt, but in the end, he'll be happy with the win. Of course, normally we see Kohli there in the end and winning the game, but since India is in good position, it won't hurt him that much. But he would have been there. That would have pleased him even more to get those winning runs. But I'm sure, you can see how he is, how he goes about his business.
Hit the ball with a languid ease and grace. The end came for Kohli when he was beat by a sharply spun leg break from Adil Rashid, but by then the damage had been done. Partnership of what, 167 between him and Rohit Sharma took India to the brink. They're 239 for 2. They require 30 more and under no pressure whatsoever. Plenty of time left, plenty of wickets in hand. It's just a matter of when.
Why is it then, as I asked you a question before on England's weaknesses, has the bowling kind of been bolstered by this really excellent batting performance by England in the last 2 years, and the weaknesses were not evident for us to see?
Well, I don't know whether they're weaknesses, but you could certainly say that some of the figures, I think, have been burnished by the fact that England have got such a strong batting lineup. So, for example, Liam Plunkett, who's got that outstanding strike rate of about 30 or something since the World Cup of 2015, which puts him in the top half dozen of all time. Now, that's obviously testament to him to some degree, but also testament, I think, to the fact that often teams have been chasing over 350. Or indeed, if they're batting first, they're so concerned about England's batting that they have to try and get more than perhaps the conditions envisage. There's no question that the way England have batted has helped the bowlers. But coming up against a bowling attack like India's with a bit of variety in the middle overs, they're not able to get 350 and beyond today, and therefore there's more pressure on the bowlers to take wickets. So it's a very different game all round.
Since the 2015 World Cup, the England bowling unit as a collective, I think, are the second most.
The statistics are slightly unbalanced by the conditions that you play in. For example, some of these grounds in England are so small, some of the pitches so flat. Not only are the batting stats unbalanced, that the bowling stats become so as well. Into the 37th, 246 for 2. Competitive strength is greater. That stands to reason, I think, given the numbers of cricketers that India have got generally. I think you're absolutely right on that point. Although England do have leg spinners in county cricket that they could call upon, but none with the experience of perhaps those in Indian cricket who have played in the IPL regularly. Just another statistic that I could throw at you. I mean, they say that England's death bowling is far more expensive or worse than India's on the stats. I'd say it's much harder to bowl at the death in England than India. Smaller grounds, pitches that die a bit in India. Smaller grounds here makes bowling at the death very hard work. So the statistics are always slightly skewed, aren't they, by where you play?
I just think that stiff challengers like this are very good for England, to give them a really realistic kind of feedback on where their cricket is at, how their team is progressing. They're going to bank on this particular bunch of players playing together for a long time. They have played together for a long time. Selections have been made with an eye on talent, with an eye towards changing the mindset and the strategies of the English player. And it has worked really well. But it also gives other sides an opportunity to get used to a pattern of play. It's the same players over and over again. There's very little change. You might have a Chris Woakes come back in at times, maybe. But the actual personnel don't change much. So opposition come the World Cup will have very set plans as to how to go around combating what England throws at you, especially if the batting fails.
don't ever think that a team should be a closed shop. I think if an outstanding talent emerges and demands selection, then the door should always be open. Didn't agree with Owen Morgan. He was asked about Jofra Archer a few games ago. Now Archer is unavailable at the moment, but should the rules change, Morgan was asked whether he'd be picked, and he said, well, no, but I don't agree with that. I think the door should always be open for players who demand selection. Pulled away in front of square, but the fieldsman out in the deep.
Jofra Archer has been a revelation, hasn't he? Started off at Sussex, limbers up, sneaks up on you really, and you don't expect him to bowl quick, but he does. He gets into those high 140s, bowls a beautiful Yorker, good change-up. He's played in quite a few leagues since he's broken, you know, onto the world T20 scene, and he's been fantastic. His statistics are unbelievable. He's a very nice guy. He's a great team man as well. It'd be wonderful for England to have him.
.249 for 2. Well, quite a dry pitch, a bit drier than the one England played Australia on. India's bowlers have turned it more. That would be mainly down to Kuldeep, who bowled it more slowly and certainly got some significant turn. Furs on to 133.
Too straight, too short. You need to be smart. Even if you do bowl a short ball, you have to try and minimize damage. Bowl it to the field. That's set. Rohit Sharma in sublime form, able to pick the gap perfectly. Not long to go now, Mathis. 11 more to win.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd get another set of commentators on tonight. And a thumping win for India, that's for sure. 258 for 2.
Never above 15 degrees at any point, and that was a heat wave, I would say, in early, I would say late spring, wasn't it? Not even summer.
It's called being reciprocal. You take us to Gaul when it's about 75 degrees centigrade. We'll send you up to Durham in May.
I once remember playing a practice game at Sussex and at Hove, and it was 5 degrees for 4 days with gale force winds. It was the worst 4 days of cricket that I've ever played.
Joe Root now, just a token gesture really, with India just 11 away from taking a 1-0 lead in this series.
Yeah, they've thrown in the towel, isn't it? Last right. But Joe Root, Ian Morgan, knowing they've tried. They have tried variety, they've tried spin, but nothing has worked against this very strong Indian batting lineup.
Down to single figures now. You say thrown in the towel. Remarkable things do happen actually in cricket. Benedict was reminding me of a game I played in Lancashire against Surrey in a 50-over game. Lancs 236. Surrey were 212 for 1 and lost. What were they all out in the end, Benedict? 230 all out. 212 for 1. 230 all out. Unbelievable game at the Oval. What year was that? 19. Their victory in the T20 series, with 1 in the ODI series. That's how they chase the total set by England. Rohit Sharma unbeaten on 137. Shikhar Dhawan got off to a flyer 40 from just 27 balls, and Virat Kohli was all class in his 75.
The England bowlers toiled and toiled hard, but with no great fortune. They failed to stop the Indian batting lineup from getting to this total quite easily. The spinners making no inroads, but the story of the day, Kuldeep Yadav 6 for 25, putting brakes on a wonderful England start, and India romping home to a convincing win.